Hello and welcome to the Inspiration and Enlightenment Slow Talk. Today I'm going to talk about habits. Habits are keys to success and failure. What makes success? Knowledge and skill. What is knowledge plus skill? Good habits. Let's take Taekwondo for example. What are Taekwondo kicks? Taekwondo kicks are habits of action. You train them by repeating them 100 times, 1,000 times. That's how you get good at them. You practice them until they become automatic. And all you need to do is initiate them. What about musicians? Like a piano player. The movement of their fingers are habits of action. They are automatic, and all the musician has to do is to initiate those actions. The same is true for business. You succeed in business when you follow proper business habits. And that's why companies are into procedures, because procedures formulate proper habits or habitual actions. Habits save. When we get into a difficult situation, what happens is that the situation gets out of control. If we have proper habits, those habits can save us. How do they save us? They save us from acting emotionally. The jails are full with people who acted upon difficult situations emotionally, with fear or with anger. How do parents educate their children? They educate their children by training them habits. So when they grow old and when they're on their own and they get into difficult situations, those habits will save them. There are three kinds of habits. First is habit of acting, second is habit of thinking, and the third is habit of feeling. What is the other name of habit of feeling? That's attitude. So the key to success in every aspect of life is to create the right habits of acting, that's behavior, or habit of thinking, using reasoning instead of rationalization, for example, and the habits of feeling. What do we do if we want to change a habit? Like replace a bad habit with a good habit. The first thing we need to do is to come up with a new positive habit. And then every time a situation or a memory triggers our old bad habit, we need to divert our attention from the old habit to the new habit. For example, every time we feel we need a cigarette, instead of taking the cigarette, which is a habit, we pop in a chewing gum. If we get into a fight with another person, instead of thinking that person is bad, like we used to, we think that this person is a soul, same like us. And it wants the same thing. It wants love, it wants security, it wants purpose, it wants happiness. And that we are all more or less lost souls. And we are sinners, and sinners forgive each other. The same holds true for attitude. Whenever we meet a person we hold some kind of resentment towards, yes, we direct our habitual feeling towards a positive feeling. So instead of holding the person in contempt, we try to see the good sides of that person and help bringing these good sides to come forth. So the principle is fairly easy. We break up old habits and we replace them with with good and new habits. But the process is tedious. Yeah, and the sense we get when we are in this process of establishing new habits is a sense of resistance. And that sense of resistance, it's important to understand that. We meet resistance every time we confront a certain form. And old habits have a certain form, and these forms resist against change. So, yes, we have to break them up and then replace them with good and new habits. So that's the resistance we face. And in order to overcome this resistance, we need energy. Yeah? And that's what we feel when we try to overcome new habits. We feel this lack of energy. So the first thing we need to do is we need to collect some energy in order to break through old structures and habits. Now, where do we get the energy from? Yeah, we take a break. That's one thing. The other thing is we request energy from above, from the higher self. And that energy is esprit, spirit, and inspiration, which can turn into motivation. So we will never be able to break old habits if we don't have this, if we don't take our time before that to regenerate, to have a pause, to have a quiet moment. And in this quiet moment, we find the energy and the power to break old habits and structures. When we embark to enlightenment, we face the strongest resistance of all. Because in the case of enlightenment, we are the structure that needs breaking down. We need to transform, and that produces a lot of resistance, a strong sense of resistance. So in the very early days of enlightenment, the resistance feels very, very strong, and the way we can establish enlightenment habits is by taking it very slow and little by little. When we get into enlightenment, it's usually because of some kind of an awakening. Yeah? For example, we were initiated into enlightenment, or we had a vision or some kind of a experience that showed us there are other realities and there are higher aspects, higher and unknown aspects of ourself. So this comes to us as a kind of an inspiration. Yeah, and after we get our first strong inspiration, it calms down, and it takes a little until we feel a new inspiration. And this new inspiration, we feel it like a breeze of spirit. And this is a bit of an energy that flows through us, and it's very important to react to this breeze of inspiration and do something. Yeah, do some kind of enlightenment action. Sit down and meditate, sit down and contemplate, or read some enlightenment book, or do anything. Look at a tarot card, do anything, just to create a habit. So, and then it becomes calm again, and then another breeze comes, faster than before. And if we act again upon that breeze of inspiration, we create a habit. Yeah? We create a habit to react on inspiration. And this habit grows stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger the more often we do it. So when we do this often enough, we overcome this sense of resistance. Yeah? And after that, it's still a little bit difficult to do enlightenment. We have to still push us a little bit, but we don't feel this resistance anymore. And if we push on and continue to establish our enlightenment habits, there comes a time when we are so used to it that we can't live without it anymore. And that's when we get a feeling of excitement and happiness. And then the whole enlightenment thing gets a critical mass of energy, and it just runs on its own. You can say that enlightenment works a bit as a yin and yang thing. Yeah, so we have inspiration on one side, and we have the creation of habits or forms on the other side. Inspiration, new form, inspiration, new form, inspiration, new form, and the two strengthen each other. So while we believe that, or in the first phase of enlightenment at least, while we feel that the most important task is to break free from old structures, from old habits, from old thoughts, from old feelings, it is equally important, maybe even more important, to create new forms and habits of thinking, feeling, and acting. Thank you for watching this episode of the Inspiration and Enlightenment Slow Talk. Please help spreading a light with a like and a share, and don't forget to subscribe. Love and light.